What is good, YouTube? It's your boy OG Nonboy, back with another video, and in today's video, you already know, every meta I'm obligated to post a double charm team. So this team I've used in the Open Ultra League, the Ultra League Premier Classic, and now it's time to use it in the Ultra League Premier. So, the reason why I decided to use this team was because, I was just going to try it out anyways, to be honest, but I was seeing a lot of YouTube videos from content creators that had teams that were basically extremely weak to this team here. So the first day this cup was out, Junkis made a team about Escavalier, Gyarados, Dragonite, Rise to Occasion early on in the meta. Also made a video about Escavalier, Alolan Muck, and Dragonite in the back. And Ysera Lead also had a team that consisted of Jellicent in the front with Nidoqueen and Scrafty in the back. And also there's just a bunch of Jellicent teams with a Dark type in the back. And then also Battle Bill had a team that was a double fighter team. So you already know all those teams super weak to the double charm here. So I decided to give it a run, and overall, like throughout the whole meta, I've definitely gone positive with it. But it was a lot stronger in the earlier part of the Ultra League Premier just because there were so many more of those teams that I just mentioned around. But getting into these battles here, we have a Talonflame lead, and I throw a Hydro Cannon and then swap into my Togekiss just to eat the Brave Bird so I don't have to shield it on my Swampert, because I know that they likely have some sort of an answer to Charm in the back, or I want to like lure something out. And I'm going to lose Switch anyway, so I'm okay with tanking the Brave Bird on my Togekiss there. And they reveal a Charmer of their own in the Sylveon, so I'm going to stay in here and play this matchup out. And I'm going to just get as many Hydro Cannons off as I can here. So I'm going to shield this since I can get another Hydro Cannon off if I shield, which would put them pretty low. And then I'm going to swap into my Sylveon after so that I don't get farmed down and I don't take too much damage on my Swampert in case I need it later. So they swap out into their own Swampert, but because their shield's down, we're in a pretty comfortable situation, especially if we're able to shield up the Earthquake here, and they go straight for the Earthquake, so we're able to shield that. And after throwing this Psyshock here, they should only be able to get to another Hydro Cannon, so we're going to be able to maintain quite a bit of health on our Sylveon here. So the Talonflame in the back is really low since it did have to eat a Hydro Cannon, and we should be able to farm them down before they get 3 Incinerates off, since they did throw the Brave Bird, and that is a GG's for us. So next match here, we have a Swampert mirror match. So this is a little bit tricky just because it's a Shadow Swampert, so they not only win CMP, but a Togekiss can tank 2 Hydro Cannons from a regular Swampert, but not from a Shadow Swampert. So I'm going to bring my Togekiss in here. If they decide to throw both Hydro Cannons, I'm going to have to shield one. And the reason I swap out there before tanking one on my own Swampert is because I want to keep it healthy unless I need it for something in the back. So they bring in a Talonflame, which honestly isn't the best idea by them because they're going to have to shield up one of these Ancient Powers here, and they do have quite a bit of energy, but I'm going to bring my Swampert in here, and they always bait, so I'm going to call the bait, and I'm going to get to, well, I'm not going to be able to get to a Hydro Cannon before they get to another move. And they actually are able to throw the Brave Bird there. I throw right away, like I'm not timing it. Could be bad, but I didn't want them to swap out. But they also could have just swapped out anyways, right? Like on my move. So they bring their Swampert back in, and I'm going to shield this. And then I bank my Hydro Cannon, farm them all the way down, and then I'm going to just, stay in here, obviously, and play this matchup out. And if they shield my Psyshock, then we just build up to the Earthquake and take them out. Or if they don't shield it, then we're also in a pretty good position as well, since they will be pretty low, and we can probably charm them all the way down after that. So they have to shield, basically. And now they're in Hydro Cannon range, so we're able to take that match there. So this match at least wasn't quite a hard counter match, but like the opponent misplaying a little bit kind of let us win. And I know a lot of people like to say that double charm is super OP and all that stuff, and I agree to some extent that it is OP in certain metas, like the Ultra League Premier Classic. It was absolutely busted, but in this meta, it's like decently fair. Your opponent always has a shot of winning unless your team hard counters their team. Like the opponent there should have pressured my Togekiss more with their Swampert before swapping out. And they also had a Walrein in the back too, so I don't know why they brought in their Talonflame there. So, you know, just a lot of times with this team, if you don't hard counter your opponent, you're kind of relying on them to make mistakes more or less in order for you to win. So you're going to see that later in this video as well, but for now, we got the Miltank on our Sylveon, and we do have to try to maintain alignment here since like this team is very heavily reliant on maintaining alignment. So we match shields just because they shielded ones too, and this is actually kind of ideal for us since they get less farm down on our Sylveon here. But Nidoqueen with a Dark in the back is very common, so like they have the Scrafty in the back and it's basically game over for them. So this team definitely hard counters the Nidoqueen Double Dark team, which is a pretty common team. So here we see the Nidoqueen Double Dark again. So well, I guess the last one was in Double Dark. They had the Miltank as the safe swap, but most commonly you're going to see Nidoqueen with a Double Dark. So now we bring the Sylveon in here because the Psyshocks are going to be pretty threatening to a Shadow Nidoqueen. So, I mean, they're probably not going to shield this. Sometimes they do, which is a little bit, like, well, it's not the best decision on their part, but even so, like, they're in farm down range for our Swampert basically, and we can farm them down before we have to eat 2 Earth Powers here. So I'm gonna farm them. I'm also just gonna shield this because an Earth Power would put us pretty low, and considering it is an Obstagoon, like, it doesn't really matter because we don't need that other shield anyways. So I mean, at that point, like, it doesn't really matter what we do in that situation. And then in the final match here, we have the mirror match for the Swampert. So this is kind of how I like to play this out. Basically, like I said before, a Togekiss can tank 2 Hydro Cannons, so I like to chip them first. Sometimes they do shield that, in which case I'll stay in a little bit longer, but I swap into my Togekiss, and they bring in a regular Muk, which is a pretty hard counter to the Togekiss here. But the Flamethrower does hit decently hard, so this puts them in a farm down range after these couple of charms go through. So we are going to bring our Swampert back in, and we're just going to let every move go through here because they do have a lot of energy stored on their own Swampert. Like, they have 2 Hydro Cannons, so if we, you know, shield one of these, we're going to have to shield a Hydro Cannon anyways. And they actually bring in a Sylveon, so this is another example of where the opponent misplaying actually allows us to win. So they let the Hydro Cannon through, which means we're going to be able to charm their Sylveon all the way down, and then also charm down their Swampert. So we know here that we have to tank this move because the Swampert has 2 Hydro Cannons. So if we shield that first move there, then they're going to make it to 2 Hydro Cannons and they're going to take us out. But we have to tank that, and then we're able to farm them down, thankfully, there. So overall, this team definitely performs still, especially since half the time you do kind of hard counter your opponent. Like, just because that's the way the meta is right now. You even win against the Dragonite double steel lines if you swap in your Sylveon first, and then you can bait out like their actual Heartsteel answer, because typically it's like, what is it? It's the Galarian Stunfisk and the Escavalier. So if you bait out the Stunfisk with your Sylveon and then you take out the Stunfisk with your Swampert, then your Togekiss can actually 2v1 sweep the Escavalier and the Dragonite. So overall, like, pretty solid team, of course, in this meta. And basically, you know, give it a try if you're trying to gain some elo. And yeah, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and also submit your battles in the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one.